In today's video, we are going to learn how we can get inputs from the user through the keyboard. So in some of games or apps, we need to retrieve information from the users, as for example, the username, the password, the name, age, everything. So we're going to see how we can use the input fields in Unity, in our games or apps, to retrieve this data. We will see multiple options, as for example, how we can limit the content of these fields so that they can only introduce numbers in case that field is for the age, or they can only introduce letters in case they are introducing the name. We don't want to receive numbers in that input field. So we will see how to manage and properly use the input fields to retrieve data, and later you can use it as you need in your game or app. Let's go to Unity. Let's see how we can use these input fields easily.
Welcome to Unity, and we are back to a new tutorial. In this case, today, as we already said, we're going to create input fields, and for that we're going to create a new scene, complete new scene. To do this, we will save it as new scene, for example. This will be new scene. Perfect. So, okay, let's open it. Well, is this one? It's in assets. We will move it to scenes, and what we're going to do is click here in the plus button. We are going to include a new UI element that is the input field text mesh pro. This input field, let's make it a bit bigger. You will see that has multiple different components. On the one side, in this box, you can include text, but it also contains a placeholder containing a message that will help the user understand what is expected in that input field. In this case, the text is saying enter text, but we can put in here introduce your name, for example, if we want the user to introduce their name in this case. So for this scenario, let's do one thing. Let's include two different input fields. One of them, we want to get the name of the player, and on the other side, for the other one, what we want is to get the age of the player, age, for example. So here, one important thing to mention is that, well, first of all, let's put one of them up, the other one down to not overlap. And in the age, I will put as the placeholder introduced your age. Okay, perfect. So one important thing to understand and to know in these input fields is that we have the option to limit the text that is included in them. So let me show you. If we scroll, we will find this content type. We can define if the user is going to introduce a name, numbers, symbols, numbers, everything. We can limit the kind of content that they can introduce. You can see integer number, decimal number, alphanumeric, name, email address. We will check that it contains the proper symbol for the emails. So in this case, I'm going to select name, and you will see if I click play that it will only allow me to include a name, not numbers. So I will write in here BAM. In fact, it's putting the first letter as capital letters automatically. But if I try to put 5, 6, 7, I am now clicking in the numbers and they are not recognized because a name doesn't contain numbers. So we are limiting the content. On the opposite side, in the age, we have not yet restricted the content, so we can put letters and numbers. What we will do now is select it. We are going to modify the content type. In this case, we want integer numbers, not decimal numbers. I have 20.5 years old. No, we want integer numbers, 20, 30, 40, whatever. And now we can see that in fact, it will be restricting this. I try to click on age, A, D, S, it's not recognizing them, but if I put 54, it's correctly recognized. So we have limited and properly configured the input fields depending on what we are expecting as an input from the keyboard of the user. And now what I will show you is that via script we can retrieve this data and we can play with it. Maybe you want to store the name for future sessions of the player, or you want to register the user, so you need to retrieve from these input fields the data and register it in the database or whatever. So let's create a new empty, and the new script, in this case, will be the input controller. And we're going to do that. We are going to read from these two fields and update in the logs to do something simple. But we are going to do it via events. So what we are going to do is once the user finishes editing, it's in fact one of the predefined events. You can see in the input field, you have some events. When the value changes, you can carry out an action. When the user finishes editing it, the same. When the user select the input field. So we are going to play with this one. On end edit, we will do an action. And this action, we are going to configure it in a new script. Will be the input controller. The same. So in this script, let's find it. It's in here. We are going to drag and drop to our scripts folder. Okay. Here. And let's open it. Input controller. So what we will do is just create a simple method. We don't need the update. We are going to create a simple method, public void, that is input value change it. Okay. We can also call it in the same way as the event, but in this case I'm going to call it like this. And what we will do is just show a message in the console, so you can see that in fact we are getting those values correctly. First thing, I forgot, we are using TM Pro, so we include it in here, and we are going to define the two variables. On the one side, the public TMP input field, that will be the name, and on the other side I will just copy it, and we will have in here the age. Let's put input age input, because Sim's name alone is conflicting with anything. That's why I was getting a warning. So let's do it like this to not have any problem. So your name is, and here we will retrieve from the name input the text, the property text. The input field has a lot of properties, but we want to retrieve the text. Plus, and your age is, and let's use the other one, age input text. So with this, we will just show a message in the console with information that we are getting from the user. So you see that we are in fact correctly retrieving it, and it will be updated every time we modify it. So let's go to the console. Let's assign first of all the input fields. This is the name 1, this is the age 1. Save, play, and let's test. Let's see that this is working as we expect. So on the one side, we are going to introduce a name, and we will finish editing. We didn't configure the event. Okay, yeah, sorry. Let's do that. We're going to select both at the same time to do it faster. But on the event and edit, in editor and runtime, let's drag and drop this object that contains the script with the method that we want to use. In this case, is input value change it. So when the edit finishes, it will run that method in both input fields. Okay. So it will consider you finish editing when you click outside of this input box. So first, let's put our name, bam. I click outside, it's detected and is saying your name is bam and your age is, I don't know, because I didn't introduce any value. My age is 30, for example. I click outside and again it's detected. Your name is bam and your age is 30. If I change this, my name is Andrew and my age is 44. You see two updates again. When I finish editing the name, your name is Andrew and your age is 30. And now when I finish editing the other input field, your name is Andrew and your age is 44. So you can see that we get the updates, that we retrieve properly these values introduced by the user, and we can use this for many things as user, passwords, sign up, etc. Okay, so well, I hope this is useful for you. You can use it in your games to retrieve some data from the users as names, passwords, etc. Take into account the content type to avoid unexpected characters that can cause issues in your code. And thanks a lot for watching. I hope it was useful. Else, let me know if you have any question, doubt, problem implementing this. And I will see you in the next tutorial. Thanks a lot for your support, your likes, your subscriptions, and wish you a very successful day. Thank you.